Joining me to shed more light on these issues is the Chief of Staff to the Bauchi State Governor, Ladan Saliu. Alhaji Saliu, it's good to have you join me now. Good morning.
Good having you. Thank you so very much.
Great. Now, let's begin from the recent fire outbreak in Wunti, popular Wunti market in Bauchi. Over 200 shops were burned at the popular market. Can you share with us what the state of things are and what the government is doing to help?
Right now, I would say that things have returned to normality. The market, which was raised, popularly known as Baba Plaza, like you did say in your introduction, is one of the most popular shopping complexes in the state capital. And at about 12 midnight, 3 days ago, there was the fire incident which was reported, and we were there, and we informed His Excellency the Governor Bala Mohammed. Within 5 to 7 minutes max, he was right there on the scene, and he coordinated all the emergency services, and were there for about 2.5 hours. The inferno was put out. And it was a huge and very colossal damage, so to say. The disaster, can only be imagined. And right now, we're taking stock of the destruction of the, properties lost. And after aggregating all the statistics, government, as pronounced by His Excellency the Governor, will intervene, will do some of the repair works, and will give compensation, or if you like, intervention, albeit humanitarian, to those who are affected by the inferno. It was a very unfortunate incident, but the emergency services rose to the situation, and we are generally happy that it didn't escalate beyond the scope we have witnessed.
All right. Is there any plan in order to forestall future occurrence where government has to be the one to come assist people? Is there a plan to popular markets like that, put them on some sort of insurance policy so that when there is a fire outbreak of this kind, the business takes care of itself and then the insurance comes to take care of things instead of government being the one to always come to the assistance of the people?
Well, beyond the issues of insurance, there is also the issue of assurance, which is to say that government is looking at the issue, if you like, the issues in a very more coordinated, more comprehensive and manner. We're doing the stock taking now, and after all said and done, we will. The governor has assured that emergency services will be reinvigorated. The services will be, if you like, radically reformed, so that the turnaround or the turnaround time to respond to such emergencies will be reduced to the maximum of 5 to 10 minutes. And after all said and done, when you get all the structures, when you get all the T's crossed and the I's dotted, then the issues of insurance, probably the government will look into it. But right now, we are very much concerned about getting people to, lift their businesses up and getting the market to be agog again with business, to make sure that, beyond picking up the pieces, they get back to their normal lives. And I think we are on track. Okay. I want to tell you that it's not always often that when in the wee hours of the night, when you have such a disaster, you have the chief executive officer of the state on the spot coordinating activities. And I think, I know the people of Bauchi were very proud of the way and manner we responded, and especially the governor being on the ground while the struggle was on to put the fire out.
All right. Now, let's get into one other issue that has put the governor's name on the front burner in the last few days. The governor came under very heavy criticism from across the country when a statement credited to him, or reports credited to him, him being in support of herders, militiamen carrying weapons. And that's a lot of people criticized him. Can you share more light into what the governor was talking about?
I think it is unfortunate that we in the media, and I'm proud to be part of this very noble profession, there are rules of engagement. There are rules of the game. Sometimes I sit back and wonder the way and manner issues are reported. But beyond that, I would like you to cast your mind and remember the comments made by Femi Falana on the same issue. It's an issue of criminality, or if you like, banditry, often associated with one ethnic group. And Femi Falana warned Nigerians not to engage in profiling an ethnic group, making them look like they are the sole, reasons behind banditry all over the place. And the same comment was made in a different setting by Governor Bala Mohammed. There was never a time the governor, my governor, advocated for herdsmen or any other Nigerian to carry AK47. That will be, that's not true. If you look at the pedigree, if you look at the antecedents, if you look at the career of, the governor, he was, a top flight public servant. He was a senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He was a minister of the Federal Capital Territory for 6 years. So he is well grounded on the nuances of public service. He knows the critical points of defense, security, and the management of information. He is a journalist by training. And it would be inconceivable for anybody to take his own comments, as most people did, out of context. He never advocated for people to carry AK-47. His comments were taken out of context, microwaved by people who wanted to give a spin to it for whatever reason. And there was no way his comments would be turned to look like he was supporting something that is unconstitutional, something that is not part of the making of the character of the Nigerian nation and its citizens. All he said was that it is not proper, it is not fair for any group to be profiled with criminality. When he talked about the herdsmen specifically, he said that, look, the herdsmen are vulnerable, exposed to the challenges of the forest. They are pastoralists, and as transhumans, they moved from place to place with their cattle. They do not enjoy, like you and I do, such infrastructures as roads or electricity or pipe-borne water. They are not exposed to the healthcare as services as we know them, and therefore the only commonwealth they have are their herds, the cattle, and they are always in the forest. Over the years, they have been abused. Over the years, they have been subjected to all manner of sufferings. They have been their cows have been stolen, rustled. A lot of them have been killed. They have been cheated on all corridors. And it was time for Nigerians to have a sober reflection on the kind of challenges these peculiar citizens face in the forest. And that it was the challenges they face of insecurity, of rustling, of abuse, are purely the failure of the security system in the Nigerian state. And that in itself has exposed them to a point where they don't have any option but, in few cases, to defend themselves. And that was taken out of context to mean, no, Bala said that Fulani herdsmen should carry AK47. That is completely out of the question. And it was a gathering of journalists. But people took the matter out of context and ran amok with all manner of interpretations, postulations, albeit condensed into mere fabrications that hold no water.
All right.
It is quite unfortunate. It
all
is
right, Ladan,
really unfortunate. And I want to assure you, Nigerians, that Governor Bala Mohammed will never advocate for anyone to carry arms illegally.
All right. Now, emanating from that, a lot of Nigerians are now calling for, because you talked about herding and those who are pastoralists and all of that. Nigerians and even the world over, when you talk about modern herding, there's the talk about ranching. What is the government of Bauchi State doing in that regard to ensure that there's modern approach to livestock and herding generally?
Well, Bauchi State is one of the states that is in the bouquet, if you like, of the National Livestock Program of President Muhammadu Buhari. It's a program that is still, in the works. It is work in progress. And the governor has assured the authorities, the federal authorities, that being the 5th largest state in the country, we have enough land to kickstart this idea of, if you like, Iruga or cattle ranching. And whenever the federal authorities are ready, it's just a question of coming into the state, and we'll welcome partnership with the federal government to ensure that the ranching program begins in earnest. And I want to assure you that all things being equal, we are on the same page. His Excellency Bala Mohammed is on the same page with every committed Nigerian, whether that Nigerian comes in the form of a member of an NGO or of any organization that is interested in developing livestock and carrying on with the Ruga program, if you'd put it so. And I want to assure you that the people that have had contact with and are acquainted with His Excellency the Governor over the years really know the kind of person he is. They know his own focus. They know his own political sagacity. They know his own capacity for stakeholding and building bridges and consensus building in order to ensure that we have a much safer, much secure and society for all of us to be proud of.
All right. Now, let's get into something a little more contemporary too, the issue of COVID-19. The second wave is here right now. Can you paint a picture for us how the government of Bauchi State is coping and helping indigents there?
Well, let me say without any attempt to massage, the ego of the government, that we are literally within the context of the fight against COVID in the country. We are light years ahead of many states, I must confess, because right now in Bauchi State we have 3 not one, not two, but three COVID-19 test laboratories. And our strategy is simple. His Excellency has always insisted that the whole state must go by the COVID-19 protocols of hand washing, wearing face mask, and testing, among others. And he has constituted a very powerful team headed by the State Deputy Governor, Senator Baba Taylor, to coordinate the entire chain of command and control of COVID-19 in the state. And I'll give you, the graph of performance over the months from the first index case being, unfortunately, His Excellency the Governor, who spent 21 days in isolation at a time when the COVID-19 pandemic was, in its formative stage and, very dangerous, because you don't have the kind of medical emergency response mechanism now as you had. I mean, you didn't have enough medical information, if you like, about COVID-19 then, like you have now. So you have to spend 21 days. Now you spend about 7 days, and you're out after all the tests have been done and you're certified. So we have 3 test laboratories, like I said. Over the months, they have been depending on the nature of the search. Now, coming to this second search, the governor has insisted that we must, apart from maintaining the COVID protocol, ensure that community testing is intensified in order to confront this virus head on. And with 3 test laboratories, I can give you an example. In the last 4 days, there were about 700, tests that were carried out in our own laboratory. And I happen to be the chairman of the first COVID-19 laboratory that was set up. And 3 days ago, we had 0 case. As at this morning, we have 12 out of 700. And so we make sure that we continue testing, community testing, ensuring that the protocols of the COVID-19 are not only respected, but adhered to strictly. And the governor, Bala Abdulkadir Mohammed, is always on the neck of all the medical personnel in the entire gamut of the chain of supervision, treatment, and control. And so far, so good. He has always admonished us to make sure that we remain very focused and very determined. And I think we are winning the battle in Bauchi State.
All right. Now, if stemming from what you just said, Bauchi State has a total recorded total about 750 cases, and then about 720 recovered, and 14 deaths. So if we have that kind of record, and on the 14th of February, for instance, like you said, there was no case at all recorded of any infection in Bauchi State. Would that be a product of inadequate testing? One would interpret it like that.
No, I think you got the statistics a bit wrong. Oh. What I said was we have in the last 4 days tested 700, out of which 12 were, as at this morning, if you like, last night through to this morning, 12 out of the 700 were confirmed to be positive. Okay. And most of these, by the way, were from, people who got in from our neighboring states, from, say, Tafao Balewa and just local governments, bordering Plateau State. But when you look at places like Jama'are, you look at Gamawa, local governments, and Misau and other local governments that are in the hinterland, we are literally on the 0 record. So it's is very good for Bauchi State, I can assure you.
All right. Now, let's get into the issue of peaceful coexistence. We've heard several people talk about how people in Bauchi State, whether it is interfaith or ethnic, they interact very peacefully. What's the secret of that? How were you able to achieve that? Can you talk to us?
The secret is lies in leadership capacity to anticipate, analyze, and respond to emergencies, especially as it relates to community relations on the issues of internal security and peaceful coexistence. The governor insisted in the last 2 years on deepening stakeholding, meeting with various strata of societal leaders, beginning with our royal fathers and the entire traditional institutions, listening to them, engaging them, talking to them, getting pieces of advice from them, and the next thing he did was to meet with opinion leaders across the board, irrespective of their own political or religious persuasions, to also listen to them, pick points from them. What are the issues in contention? And then he met with the youths, women leaders, and market women associations, NGOs. And he did that methodically, and he did that with tact, and he did that with patience, and he gave everybody an opportunity to, give his own voice and contribute to the issues of community peace, community engagement. And in doing that, he got back probably to his study and aggregated all the points and came out with a synthesis with what I would call the Ballard doctrine of stakeholding. And what is that doctrine? He ensures that he makes everybody feels, part and parcel of the administration. All opinions, all issues not swept under the carpet. When it came to COVID-19, he called everybody 3-4 times and sat down and said, what do we do with lockdown? What do we have a complete or partial lockdown? When it came to the issue of distributing COVID materials, he made sure that as the materials arrived Bauchi State, including the ones he purchased, he had a team on ground already that was distributing. When it came to the issue of fertilizer, he made sure that farmers and farmers alone got fertilizer. When it came to the issue of governance, he ensures that his own cabinet is on board. And when it comes to the issue of politics, he tried to take everybody on board. And I think it worked for Bauchi State, and it can work anywhere. Different stakeholders engage the people.
All right. We have to, due to time, we have to leave it here now. Ladan Saliu, the Chief of Staff to the Governor of Bauchi State, Bala Muhammad, we really thank you for your time on the program. We certainly will create more time for us to talk about other issues around what's going on in Bauchi State, especially when you talk about out-of-school children, which Bauchi State seem to be one of the states with the highest figures of out-of-school children in Nigeria. But there are other things as well going on in Bauchi State we'd like to talk about as we get along. Thank you so much, Ladan Saliu, for your time on the program. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me.